Assalamualaikum and good day. My name is Nushanis Aina binti Sharijam with matrix ID 2020984319. I am going to start this presentation with the introduction first. The Federal Land Development Authority of FELDA was created on July 1, 1956 under the Land Development Ordinance of 1956 to develop land and relocate people with the goal of eradicating poverty via oil palm and rubber plantation. FELDA's role is to implement land development and agricultural operations, as well as industrial and commercial social economy initiatives. FELDA stopped recruiting new settlers in 1990. FELDA has been entrusted by the government to stand on its own financial feet and become a statutory entity capable of generating its own revenue to support various development projects through a range of enterprises. As a result, the government has not channeled any funds to the programs since 1996. FELDA has established a variety of private business organizations to generate revenue, principally to secure the whole value chain of its primary operations. FELDA Holding Berhad, FELDA Plantation Sdn Berhad and FELDA Global Ventures are among the major. Koperasi Pemodanan FELDA or KPF, which was initially linked with FELDA Holding, was funded to secure an increase in settlers' revenue. FELDA formed FELDA Investment Corporation when FGV was listed on Bursa Malaysia in June 2012. FELDA continues to play an important role today by ensuring that the schemes have adequate and modern facilities, ensuring that the next generation of explorers is educated to improve the socio-economic and quality of life, and ensuring that the schemes can generate a variety of economic activities, as well as trying to bridge the gap between urban as well as small urban areas. FELDA's goal is to be the economic powerhouse in 2020, creating economic activity through a structured program that taps into a diverse pool of human capital. For this report, we will talk broadly about contributions of FELDA in eradicating rural poverty in Malaysia. There are 4 contributions that we are going to talk in detail, which are Settler Development Programs or PPP, LLA's land repossession, strengthen farm operations, and creating e-pewarisan system.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Daniel Shah bin Zaidi from AM110 4C. So now I would like to talk about contribution 1, which is Settler Development Program, which is PPP. Firstly, the FELDA Settler Development Program is one of the initiative from FELDA companies to lead the main purpose of why FELDA exists, because the main motive of FELDA is to carry out projects of land developments and agricultural activities, industrial and commercial social economy. In addition, for the settler development programs is not only to help increase income for settler, but it is also to create an excellent or quality community amongst settlers. The implementation of this program will also provide employment opportunities in the existing FELDA areas in Malaysia, and especially for the youth and the second generation. Among the example of settler development program project that have been implemented by FELDA are integrated cattle breeding project and also dragon fruit project. Both projects that have been implemented are projects from 2 children of FELDA settlers. With such an example, we can see that FELDA has succeeded in realizing one of their main objective to further develop to further develop the industry in the agricultural sector, and thus be able to help the settler through the implementation of such program. In the meantime, Felda Director General, which is Osman Omar, also said that under the implementation of the Settler Development Program, there are several projects related to the program, such as integrated agriculture and smart agriculture program, which has the same motive: further increase the opinion of the settler. Basically, this initiative is special for people who living in rural areas in Malaysia, and it is also for those who need jobs in Felda areas in order to help the livelihood of those in rural areas. The Malaysian government has been given a total budget to Felda to realize a policy or working paper on the settler development program, and also for several other initiative projects. Therefore, the benefits of this initiative are special for the settler, but it will also give a good effect to the Malaysian economy, because by upgrading the living standards of the people in rural areas, thus can further improve the national economy with contributions that will be given by settler or people who want to work in Felda through the settler development program. With this, Felda natural land can be utilized well, and can provide benefits to the government as well as Felda people or settlers. Therefore, the target group for this program is, of course, the Felda people. It is the Felda people themselves and settler, because that is the main motive why they implement this special initiative to settler developments, and also to increase settler income. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Kushan Naim bin Muhammad Sofi from Group AM110 with the card matrix number of 2020-956-879. So for the assignment, I will be elaborating on the Land Lease Agreement, also known as LLA, land repossession. Alright, so to start off, for the part of the assets that are owned by the Federal Land Development Authority, which is FALDA, they are known to be rich in owning acres of land that can be found near their respective area. Most of this land are used for plantation of oil palm, with FGV Holdings Berhad being the biggest private corporate entities launched by FALDA, owning around 811,140 hectares of land for its oil palm plantations that can be found in Peninsular Malaysia and other known parts of Malaysia and the world. Land Lease Agreement, or also known as LLA, or also known as ground lease, is a land lease that relates to a leasing of plot of land. It is one of the commercial real estate leases where the person who holds the lease, which is the lessee, is permitted to do whatever he or she wishes with the rented land. There are many options presented that can be done with the land lease, from commercial to residential and agricultural, which is what the FALDA usually chooses in. A land lease agreement is different from other commercial and residential contracts because it focuses on the land itself, as well as the purpose of the lessee's permissions and obligations. However, there were several complications between FALDA and FGV Holdings Berhad in regards of the land lease agreement. FGV Holdings Berhad had moved forward in hopes of bringing clarifications about the LLA that is tied between FALDA and FGV Holdings Berhad. Based on FGV Holdings Berhad, the land that are leased to FGV are not totally tied to any land that are currently cultivated by the FALDA settlers, meaning that Back when the LLA that was signed on the 1st November of 2011, it was mentioned that all assets involved are estates that are free from cultivation by Felda settlers as well as free from FGV's palm oil mills. It was also mentioned that the size of the Felda land is as big as 850,000 hectares, which 450 and 632 hectares of its own by Felda settlers. Meanwhile, the land is legally owned by Felda, is leased to FGV with the amount of 350,733 hectares. Another point worth noting is that the LLA mentioned that RM248 million can be payable to Felda, included with 15% of profits made by the LLA yearly. The amount payable is calculated according to the hectareage. Travelling back to 2016, it was stated that there was a decrease in the payment between LLA and Felda due to several issues regarding of the hectareage lease. This is due to the fact of land acquisitions by Felda, handing over part of the land to Felda's mining operations, intrusion to third-party land, and more. The complication stated in this assignment is that Felda has yet approached FGV in regards of their land lease agreement. That is all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nonadira binti Zulkarnain and I will present about Contribution 3, Strengthen Farm Operation. The Federal Land Development Authority (FELDA) has launched the Sustainable Farm Initiative 2523 to pave the way for the agency's recovery and increase settlers' income by 5,000 per month by 2023. FELDA Chairman Datuk Seri Idris Jusur said, based on the initiative, his party has targeted settlers' farm productivity for fresh fruit bunches (FFB) of 25 tons per hectare per year, as well as a palm oil extraction rate (OER) of 23% by 2025. In addition, FELDA farms are able to achieve this target. At one time, when 25 tons were projected, people said the amount was too high. Similarly, there will also be naysayers on the OER of 23%, but the OER at the FGV market palm oil mill has increased to 24%. Through this initiative, the collaboration between factories and settlers will further increase productivity and the quality of farm products. The initiative will also strengthen farm management with the application of smart technology in line with the Industrial Revolution 4.0 under the 12th Malaysian Plan, 12MP. Besides, reducing the dependence on foreign labor by half and reducing operating costs by 20%. FELDA has implemented several methods, such as the Smart Plantation Management Solution (SPMS) system, the introduction of a new breed of oil palm seed, Yangabi Triway, that is more productive, the use of smart fertilizers, and other good agricultural practice. Also, FELDA had introduced strategies to support efforts to increase yields through compliance with the Sustainable Farm Management Manual and the use of premium quality agricultural materials, as well as cooperation with various agencies in farm operations. Moreover, the harvesting strategy will focus on reducing yield leakage on farms, ensuring settlers' farm products are sent to FELDA factories, and maintaining compliance with the Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil MSPO certification scheme to support the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil RSPO accreditation standard, which is an international accreditation so that palm oil can be exported without restrictions. Lastly, the initiative will be strengthened with the establishment of the Plantation Operation Inspectorate to supervise the management of settlers' farms, apart from the establishment of a Sustainable Farm Management Committee to ensure smooth replanting programs and successful farm management in accordance with sustainable farming procedures. FELDA will also make the FGV market palm oil mill a model for more sustainable management of FFB for settlers.
Continuing with the fourth contribution, which is creating a pewarisan system. Since the property is distributed under the Land Act, Group Settlement Area 1960, it is generally known that the distribution of the FELDA inherited property is distinctive and different from the norm. The system Ibu Warisan was created as to resolve inheritance issues. FELDA pay a very serious attention as it impacts fund management. For example, Muslim community inherited property distribution concerns in FELDA Type Anda, Kulai Johor. In Muslim society, issues connected to inheritance and estate split have never been addressed. Further complicating issues is the postponement of inheritance division from one generation to the next. Several responsible parties have come out to raise awareness in the community that the subject of estate partition is a serious problem that should not be overlooked. However, the problem persists to this day. The partition of this estate is a problem that occurs not only in social sciences by Nasru Hisham Nur Muhammad and Nur Azila Mat Hussein in the Journal of Technology. Only a few organizations or individuals may be considered to exist in all social levels and groupings, including the FELDA community. However, because the FELDA community is governed by the Land Act, there are peculiarities in the problem of land inheritance partition, or we call it settlement areas. Nonetheless, because the FELDA community is subject to the Land Act, Settlement Areas Group 1960, which prevents them from utilizing land at whim, there are peculiarities in the problem of land inheritance partition. The land title that FELDA settlers have been given is not absolute. This is since there are limits that must be followed. Even though the latter land title has been obtained, the settlers are not free to sell, pledge or transfer property on the land at their leisure. All transactions above the land on which the title has been provided must be done with the authorization of the state authorities according to the letter of the title to the land. If settlers wish to transact on the land of people who have received property rights, they must apply to the state authorities. The goal of state-level punishments is to prevent the misappropriation of land that has been provided to settlers. In the process of splitting FELDA inherited land, settlers might use several different strategies. The initial mutual agreements between the heirs to grant a permanent descent of ownership to one of the heirs to the one of the methods. The simplest method for retaining land status as it was initially, namely not constrained on the basis of uneconomical management and planting yields, is the fall of this attribute. However, most of these approaches are difficult to execute since they require the approval of all heirs entitled to such property under Faraid law, particularly when there are several heirs and each wants the names to be listed as the estate's owners. The second option, as previously mentioned, is to design an administrator to oversee the land.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Najibah Najia and I will present for the conclusion of FELDA in eradicating rural poverty in Malaysia. Organization that helps in poverty eradication was the Territory and Resource Development Strategy under FELDA. It is an implementation on design to develop abandoned land to provide the ousted and the employer with better wages and make those in the small villages in the backward areas free right of the center. This organization, FELDA, has relocated people made up of mainly underused workers or ousted and poor people. FELDA not only as a head contributor to the manufacture of Malaysian export items, latex and palm oil, but also had successfully lifted the center net earnings income of FELDA immigrants to a level more than the poverty line. The Malaysian system of arranging poor and ousted people in trade, agricultural, manufacturing was the perfect model to distribute with rural poverty. The rate of development of the relocation program has been grand and the FELDA program is contemplated as one of the more successful models of community projects in developing sovereign state in trade agricultural making as a model to contribute to rural poverty, besides taking the edge of poverty and on condition that improve level of comfort for other privileged society is new as one of the purposes of multilateral agreement program. It is an idea both that the agreement will provide immigrants with better wages and that the application of people into agreements will make it uncomplicated to provide community services. The reason why the government wanted to occupy and develop an infrequently populated poor area is to grow agricultural products, contemplation of public security, the facility of land for ousted or landless people. Other than that, the Felda immigrants had many chances to give way to inside jobs as they had too short working days. Many immigrants involved themselves in farming, businesses, a cottage industry, and construction. These projects helped to transfer earning, fill in leisure time, and created job chances for the youngster. That's all from our group. Thank you.